Hi, I'm Jay Tyler. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use a titanium soldering probe. Now this is the tungsten soldering probe. This is what it looks like new, and here's what it looks like after it's been used a bit. Now the purpose of the probe is to move solder around a solder area, especially hard to get to places like this. This is what I'm going to be soldering. So it's really hard to get solder down like in here. And so the probe, what I do is use that to move the solder around here during the sweating process. Now if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out my three-part series on silver soldering, and I explain all of that. But I want to get solder covering this entire area right here. Now this is a quad helix appliance, and I've got it covered up really, really well with the heat protective compound, and which makes it going to be kind of hard to get solder in here, but I've got a wire just underneath there, so I needed to cover it up real well so it doesn't get damaged. Now the tungsten, the nice thing about tungsten is that, well, this is titanium. Tungsten works as well too, but either titanium or tungsten, solder does not stick to it, so it makes it really good for this. Plus it doesn't highly oxidize like something like nickel chromium wires would do, and metal oxides are anti-fluxes, which not only inhibits the flow of solder, it actually stops the flow of solder. So you don't have that problem with these metals. So it makes it ideal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and paint some flux on this area right here. Now I usually heat this up a little bit so that the flux just kind of goes psss into it and covers it well. But with this probe, I can use the probe to move that flux around as it becomes molten. Now I want to get my flame adjusted right here. Okay, I'm going to heat the flux up. Like I say, I can use this probe just to make sure I get the flux everywhere I want. And see, that probe gets real good and hot. I'm going to use that heat to move the flux around. Okay, now my flux is melted. I'm going to add just a little bit of solder now. Okay, that's all. And then I'm going to use my probe, transfer, as soon as it melts, as soon as the solder melts, I'm going to use my, okay, it's melted. Now I'm going to use my probe, the heat of the probe, to move the flux around. All right. So I can get that probe real good and hot, and I haven't overheated my solder joint. It looks like maybe I did, but not really. And see, I've got solder, it's hard to see, but I've got solder way down in here, I've got solder back in here, solder all over that area. Okay, I got it so hot I burned the tip off of it, but it's still working. Okay, I'm going to put a little, we're going to try it again over here. I'm going to put just a little bit of solder on it. Get my hands out of the way. I'm going to put a little more flux on there. Okay, and here we go. So there we go. I've got solder all down in these good areas. I've got it solder way up in here, over here. Got solder all over the place. Just a thin layer. Now I can go ahead, now that it's sweated, I can go ahead and add my bulk solder to it. And I'll have a real good, secure solder joint. And let's go over here. It's really hard to do this on video. You're thinking, boy, Jay, that's not doing really great there. Try shooting a video. Okay, there we go. That's got that bulk solder melted into the sweated solder, so that should be a really good, strong solder joint. I'll go ahead and trim that down and polish it up, and it'll be ready to go. All right, that's it. I'll see you next week.